Hey guys, Mr. V here with another Premiere Pro tutorial. I'm going to open up Premiere here and we're going to get started today learning titling. So that should be fun. Some of you guys have already been experimenting with titling and that's great. But I want to show you guys my way because I think you can learn a lot from just the way I do it. So you can see I've got a bunch of projects I already have going here. I'm going to open up my PSA project and here we are. So here's kind of where we are, where we left off from last time. You can see some of my video still isn't rendered, and we will be learning about rendering later, just not today. I want to get you guys set up. The last time we were in Premiere, I showed you guys how to size and place in your logos. So a lot of you are probably going to want to use some titles for, maybe at the beginning for the title of the whole video, or you're going to want to use titling for credits. Actually, everybody should have credits, so that would be maybe after the logo appears, and you may even want to use some titles for like some statistics or things that you want to put in your video, just information on text basically. So I'm going to show you guys how to do that over here in our project panel here, or I guess the video bin that we have, our video library over here. You can see I have my clips and they're all in blue, which is showing me that I'm using all of them currently in the timeline. And I want to point to this area over here just so that you will take a note of that real quick. So to create a new title, what I'm going to do is I'm going to come up here to File, and then I'm going to go to New, and then there's this guy right here called Legacy Title. I don't know why it's called Legacy Title, but that's just what it's called. That's what I always use when I want to create a new title. Some of you guys were experimenting with some other ways to do titles. I just don't like to do it that way. I don't like to grab the T tool. I like to come up here to Legacy Title, because what that's going to do is, you're going to see here in a minute, when we create a new legacy title, it's actually going to create a new element inside of our library that we can then use to bring out into the timeline. The titling tool is kind of like a generic title tool, but you want to kind of keep your titles as elements on their own, almost like the videos are. So that's what I recommend doing. So you're going to come up here, File, New, File, New, Legacy Title. Now I'm going to go ahead and title this, but you don't have to. If you want to go with the default, which it'll default to Title 01, that's fine. As long as you can kind of keep track of what you're using these titles for. Let's say you had a title at the beginning, and then you had some stats at the end, and then you had some credits. So that would be like 3 different times that you would create a new title basically. So if you just use the default names, it would be Title 01, Title 02, Title 03, and so on. So I guess I'm just going to go ahead and leave this. That should be fine. Just don't get confused. So this will open up a new window, and it's kind of confusing too, because this window tends to blend into the background, but as you can see here, it's kind of like its own thing. So we're still in Premiere, but the titling box kind of has its own dialog window that pops up. And over here you can see I can move the palettes around, or the panels around, just like in some of the other parts of Premiere. The thing with this titling panel, guys, is I don't know why. I've never been able to figure it out. But whenever it opens, these panels will not be set right, and you'll always have to come in here and drag them out. And the most important part that you need is always going to be probably like collapsed over there on the side for some weird reason. So you just have to drag it out like this. This side panel over here is basically what gives you all of your properties for text, just like when you use it in Google Docs or something like that. So what I'm going to do is the only 2 tools you'll ever really be using inside of this box is the arrow tool and the T tool. The arrow tool will let you move text around once you have it typed out, and the T tool basically just lets you type out text. I'm going to do a point text, so I'm just literally going to click. I'm not going to drag out a text box. I'm just going to click over here on the side. And I'm just going to put like an example title. Just like that. Okay, so still with my T tool or my text tool selected, I'm going to highlight, click and drag over this, highlight it, and I think I want to make this text a little bit bigger because this is kind of like what I'm envisioning for like the title of my whole movie. Actually, we could actually just put in here PSA or something like that. I don't know. You guys would come up with way better names than me. Let's put dating PSA. Okay, so I'm going to highlight this text, and up in the top here you see all of my properties. So basically this is where I would do just like what we had done before. We selected it. It's kind of like Photoshop where you select a font. I kind of like this font over here, Baskerville. You guys will have different fonts. This, I believe, let me see, is where you can choose if it's bold or not. And that's basically it. This Baskerville font doesn't have any kind of like bold or anything like that. So on this one right here, it just says regular. So that's cool. And that's really about it, guys. I think actually the font comes as all capital letters as well. So you can play around with that. You can change the color over here. Let's say we want to make it like a red color. Whoops, let me see. Whoops. Right here on fill type, I was looking at the wrong one. That's the color for the shadow. So you want to look for the fill type. Let's say we want to go with like a deep red. Maybe something like that for teen dating. Okay, so I think that's pretty cool. And really the only thing else I want to change is maybe the size. You can change the size two different ways. You can actually change the size of the font, or you can change the size with the arrow tool and actually changing the size of the, I guess the element itself. But I'm going to Command Z that because I like changing the size of the font itself. So I'm going to go back to my T tool. I'm going to highlight the text. And then right here you see this T where it says size. You're just going to click and drag on the number and then scroll to the right. Kind of like how I showed you guys yesterday with that other stuff for sizing. Okay, so that's pretty good. I think that's pretty much the size I want. I want it to kind of fill the frame. And then there's this really cool like automatic centering tool down here in this palette where it says center here. This will center it horizontal or vertically. And this button right here will center it vertically and horizontal right there. So you now know that it's right in the middle of the frame. Perfect. Now here's the crazy part about titles is once you have a title looking the way you want it to, that's basically it. You guys may not have noticed, but before I close out of this window here, look over here in the library. If I move this window out of the way, you can see here that the titling box has basically created a brand new element, just like a video or anything else. So once you're in this video and you're done, there's really nothing else to do. You don't have to save it out or anything. You can just click this X and go back to the main Premiere interface. And you can see here, my title is down here in the library. It's not on the, it's not inside of the timeline yet because I haven't drug it out there. Now guys, this is just me, but I highly recommend that whenever you're using titles that you put them on a separate layer from your video. That way you can overlap and do transitions and stuff like that. I just like to keep my titles on a different layer than my video one. Okay, so you can see here I've got my first title. And let's see how long it runs. It looks like we're running for about 4 seconds here, and then it goes into my video. So that's about good. I think you know, everyone is going to decide how long they want their titles to be for different creative reasons, and that's fine. I'm going to zoom in here with the little knob like I showed you guys, and just so you know, you can change the duration of a title exactly the same way you would a clip or anything else. So right now I've got it like 2 seconds, just 1 second actually right there. So just so you know, that's how you would do that. Okay, guys, I'm actually going to go ahead and show you how to do some basic transitions, and I've shown a couple people how to do this already, but this is a really cool way to just get some basic transitions. And to be honest, guys, these are the only kinds I ever really use. I usually like to leave a couple of seconds of black space before my video actually starts, so I'm going to run it right to about here, and then I want my title to come up just on black by itself, but I don't want it to just like pop up like that. So I want it to like fade in. Maybe you're going to even have some music or something that will start. So here's a really easy way to put in some fade transitions, okay? And like I said, these are really the only kinds I ever use. So you're going to hover over, and you remember you have to be kind of zoomed in to do these, because if you're zoomed out too far, it's really hard for the mouse to get in there and click. But you're going to zoom in, and then right here, when my mouse, when my cursor turns into this little like arrow, you're going to right click, and you see right here where it says apply default transition. That default transition is basically a simple fade. It's also called a cross dissolve. So if you check this out now, it's going to fade in. Pretty nice, right? And then I think I want it to fade out, and I can do the same thing on the edge on the other side of the clip or the title. Just right click, and then same thing, apply default transition. So it's got a fade in and a fade out now, okay? And you can do that really with anything. You can apply a default transition to a clip, a title, whatever you want. So look at how nice that is. It just completely changed the whole video and made it look a lot more professional. So I'm starting out with a few seconds of black. My title fades in, it fades out. This would go great with music, by the way. And then my video fades in, okay? So guys, I'm just gonna be really honest. Those are like the only fades or the only transitions that I ever use. Now, if you wanna use some different transitions, just let me know. I'll show you where to find some more creative transitions inside of Premiere. But if you wanna just make your whole video with fades and really simple cross dissolves like this, that is how you would do it. Now, one other thing before I let you guys go to work is with titles, I highly recommend every time you want to do a new title, you want to come up here to File, New, Legacy Title, okay? So now you can see here where I've got the new title box again, but check it out. The default is going to Title 02 because I already have Title 01 over here. If I were to go back and click on this, like double click on Title 1, it would bring back up Title 1, and then I could come in here and edit my title and then close out again. If I wanted to change this title, maybe like I misspelled something or something like that and I wanted to go in and fix it. But to create a new title, let's say if I was going to do some credits or something like that, you would want to go back into File, New, Legacy Title, okay? And here's my title too, and it's going to pop up down here as soon as I do that. Pretty cool, right? So this is where you could type in some like credits. You could even do a text box if you wanted to fill out, you know, everybody's name on a different line, okay? And you know, you could put like the name of the actor, and then like the name of, or the actor or the actress, and then their character name on the other side. That kind of an idea. And once again, I'm having to drag out this properties panel here. So there's actually a really cool deal in here, guys, and it actually allows you to make a crawl. And so if you wanted to learn how to make a crawl, I could show you how to do that as well. Okay guys, so now what we're going to do is actually create a roll. It's I thought it was called a crawl, but it's actually called a roll, and that's what the movies use for like when you see the credits going up from the bottom to the top of the screen at the end of a movie. So once you're inside of the title, so here's my title 2, just like I had created a while ago, and I'm inside of there. You're going to come up, you see this little button right here. I don't even know what this little button is called. It looks like a little list with some arrows. You're going to click that, and this is basically the roll crawl options. We are going to select roll because we don't want it to be still, and we don't want it to go from left or the right. We just want it to roll through the screen. And then I want it to start off screen, which is below the screen, and then I also want it to end off screen. And then I'm just going to click OK. So now let's just say I'm typing in people's names, you know, blah 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 blah. This is going to be your hard work coming in. And then let me see, how can I get this to come down here? So basically you're going to, you see how the box goes off the screen? Let's say I had to come to my arrow to move the box, but let's go back to our T tool. And so let's say I had maybe like 10 different lines of, you know, people that were acting in and helped out with the film, maybe all the camera people and all of that. So this is all of the list of everybody that helped out with the movie. So now I'm just going to click the X, and here's my title, and check it out. I already set the parameters for it to begin off screen and then scroll through and then end off screen. So I'm going to drag that out here to the timeline, and check this out guys. I'm going to play it, and here is my roll. That's moving a little too fast for me, so what I'm going to do is actually just stretch out the duration. I want the duration to last maybe what, like 20 seconds. So check this out. Is that not amazing? And when you stretch that out, it's basically just going to make it go slower. That is how you do titling and credits inside of. Alrighty guys, I'm going to let y'all get to work. Remember, let's try our best to have our titles in by today, our credits, and then our logos. All of that needs to be done by today. Remember, our deadline is later this week. Guys, thank you so much for paying attention. God bless.